Welcome back, fellow Westerosi. Today, we're delving deep into one of the most pivotal moments in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, Robert's Rebellion. This legendary uprising against the Targaryen dynasty changed the course of history, setting the stage for the events we know and love from George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. So grab your favorite goblet of Arbor Gold and join us as we unravel the intricacies of this fascinating conflict. Let's begin. To fully understand Robert's Rebellion, we need to go back to its roots. The seeds of rebellion were sown during the tumultuous reign of King Aerys II Targaryen, also known as the Mad King. Aerys's paranoia and cruelty pushed many of his lords to the breaking point. Additionally, the abduction of Lyanna Stark by Crown Prince Rhaegar Targaryen ignited a powder keg of resentment and anger. Before we dive into the trigger of the rebellion, it's crucial to discuss the events of the tourney at Harrenhal, as they played a significant role in setting the stage for the conflict to come. Held in the year of the False Spring, this tournament brought together many of the realm's most influential figures, including Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. An intriguing subplot emerged during the tourney involving a mysterious competitor known as the Knight of the Laughing Tree. This unknown knight appeared in mismatched armor and bore a shield displaying a laughing weirwood tree. The knight won a series of jousts against knights who had mistreated a young Crannogman, Howland Reed, a close friend of Lyanna Stark. Many fans speculate that Lyanna herself was the Knight of the Laughing Tree, driven by her sense of justice and her prowess as a skilled horse rider. This theory is further supported by the fact that her brothers, Eddard and Brandon Stark, were aware of her capabilities and her strong-willed nature. When the Knight of the Laughing Tree vanished without a trace, Rhaegar Targaryen, who was tasked by his father King Aerys to find the mysterious knight, allegedly discovered the knight's true identity. However, instead of unmasking Lyanna, Rhaegar may have been captivated by her spirit and courage. This could have been the beginning of a secret love affair between Rhaegar and Lyanna, a relationship that would have dire consequences for the realm. It's worth noting that Rhaegar was obsessed with the prophecy of the prince that was promised, believing that this prophesied hero would be born of his own bloodline. Some speculate that Rhaegar saw Lyanna as a key to fulfilling this prophecy, and their union ultimately led to the birth of Jon Snow, a character whose destiny would become deeply intertwined with the fate of Westeros. The events of the tourney at Harrenhal and the enigmatic Knight of the Laughing Tree set the stage for the abduction of Lyanna Stark, an event that would serve as the catalyst for Robert's Rebellion and the end of the Targaryen dynasty. The spark that lit the fuse was the unjust execution of Rickard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, and his son Brandon Stark. Aerys accused Rickard and Brandon of treason and brutally executed them, which enraged the North and their allies. This heinous act prompted Robert Baratheon, Eddard Stark, and Jon Arryn to rise in rebellion against the Mad King. Now that we've explored the events leading up to the rebellion, let's delve into the incident that pushed the Seven Kingdoms into open conflict. As we mentioned earlier, the unjust execution of Rickard and Brandon Stark was the tipping point that galvanized the realm against the Mad King. But what exactly led to these tragic events? The tension began with the disappearance of Lyanna Stark, who was allegedly abducted by Rhaegar Targaryen. Furious and concerned, Brandon Stark, Lyanna's older brother, rode to King's Landing with a group of friends to demand her release and justice for Rhaegar's actions. Upon arriving at the Red Keep, Brandon called for Rhaegar to come out and die, a brash and reckless act that ultimately sealed his fate. In response to this perceived threat, King Aerys arrested Brandon and his companions for plotting to kill the Crown Prince. Aerys then demanded the fathers of the arrested men to come to King's Landing to answer for their sons' alleged crimes. Among them was Rickard Stark, the Lord of Winterfell, and father of Brandon and Eddard Stark. When Rickard arrived in King's Landing to plead for his son's life, Aerys accused him of treason as well, claiming that Rickard had conspired with his son to murder Rhaegar. The Mad King devised a cruel and unusual form of execution for Rickard. He was suspended from the rafters of the throne room in his armor, while a fire was lit beneath him. Aerys declared that if Rickard could free himself from the heat, his innocence would be proven. Brandon, meanwhile, was bound and placed within sight of his father, with a noose around his neck and a sword just out of reach. In a desperate attempt to save his father, Brandon strangled himself while trying to reach the sword, dying in agony as he watched his father burn alive. These brutal executions not only enraged the North, but also shocked and appalled the rest of the realm, driving many to question the Mad King's rule. The horrifying deaths of Rickard and Brandon Stark served as a rallying cry for the rebels, setting the stage for the uprising that would come to be known as Robert's Rebellion. The war officially began with the Battle of Gulltown, where Jon Arryn's forces defeated a Targaryen fleet sent to subdue the Vale. Robert Baratheon's forces then secured a string of victories, earning him the moniker the Demon of the Trident. The rebels gained further support from houses Tully and Stark through strategic marriage alliances. As the war progressed, the rebels realized the importance of forging strong alliances through strategic marriages. These unions not only helped secure vital support, but also reinforced the bonds between the key players in the rebellion, ensuring their combined strength and determination in the face of the Mad King's tyranny. The first of these alliances was forged between Eddard Stark and Catelyn Tully. Initially, Catelyn was betrothed to Eddard's older brother Brandon Stark, but following his tragic death, Eddard stepped in to honor the alliance between House Stark and House Tully. Despite the unusual circumstances surrounding their union, Eddard and Catelyn's marriage proved to be a strong and loving partnership, lasting well beyond the rebellion. Another crucial marriage alliance was that of Jon Arryn and Lysa Tully, Catelyn's younger sister. Jon Arryn, as the Lord of the Vale and a key player in the rebellion, needed to secure the support of the Riverlands, which was under the control of House Tully. Although the marriage between Jon Arryn and Lysa Tully was less harmonious than that of Eddard and Catelyn, it was nevertheless a vital component in ensuring the success of the rebel cause. Lastly, Robert Baratheon, the figurehead of the rebellion, was betrothed to Lyanna Stark, Eddard's younger sister. While their marriage never came to fruition due to Lyanna's abduction and subsequent death, the intended union between House Baratheon and House Stark demonstrated the commitment of the rebellion's key players to stand united against the Mad King's rule. These marriage alliances were instrumental in solidifying the rebel cause and paving the way for the series of victories that would ultimately lead to the downfall of the Targaryen dynasty. The Battle of the Bells was a turning point in the rebellion. Robert was injured and hiding in the town of Stony Sept when Aerys's forces arrived to hunt him down. Thanks to the townspeople and the timely arrival of Eddard Stark and Hoster Tully, the rebels won the battle, further solidifying their alliance and resolve. The decisive Battle of the Trident pitted the forces of Robert Baratheon against Rhaegar Targaryen. In single combat, Robert killed Rhaegar, effectively ending the Targaryen threat. In the aftermath, Tywin Lannister's forces sacked King's Landing, and Sir Jaime Lannister killed King Aerys, earning him the title Kingslayer. While the Battle of the Trident and the sack of King's Landing unfolded, another pivotal event took place within the Red Keep that would have lasting implications for the realm and for one character in particular, Sir Jaime Lannister, the youngest member of the Kingsguard. As Tywin Lannister's forces stormed King's Landing, Jaime was tasked with guarding King Aerys in the throne room. In the face of imminent defeat, the Mad King, urged on by his pyromancer, planned to ignite caches of wildfire hidden beneath the city. This would have led to the destruction of King's Landing and the deaths of countless innocent people. Jaime, tormented by the conflict between his duty as a Kingsguard and his moral obligation to protect the innocent, made a fateful decision. He chose to kill the pyromancer and then, in a final act of defiance, he drove his sword through the Mad King's back, earning him the title Kingslayer. Jaime's actions, though morally justified, were met with scorn and suspicion. His fellow Kingsguard viewed him as an oathbreaker, and many in the realm considered him dishonorable for slaying the king he was sworn to protect. Despite this, Jaime's decision to kill Aerys saved countless lives and marked the end of the Mad King's reign. Eddard Stark and a small group of his men went on a mission to rescue his sister Lyanna from the Tower of Joy in Dawn. After a fierce battle with the remaining Kingsguard, Eddard found Lyanna dying in a bed of blood. With her last breaths, she made Eddard promise to protect her newborn son, Jon Snow, who was secretly the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. Meanwhile, Robert Baratheon was crowned king, ending the Targaryen dynasty and the rebellion. Robert's rebellion was a complex and transformative event in the history of Westeros, shaped by the actions of numerous characters and fueled by a tangled web of motivations. It left a lasting impact on the political landscape of the Seven Kingdoms, paving the way for the events that unfold in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. The consequences of the rebellion, both personal and political, continue to reverberate throughout the realm, shaping the destinies of our favorite characters in ways they couldn't have imagined. And that concludes our deep dive into the details of Robert's rebellion. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the intricate tapestry of George R.R. Martin's world. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of the Game of Thrones universe. As always, let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Until next time, Valar Morghulis. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more A Song of Ice and Fire content.